welcome everyone to our beginner training for SHS. I'm here today with Maggie. Maggie will be helping me running the chat and the Q&A box. So if you have questions, please put them in either the chat or the Q&A box. Okay, so let's get started with our training. Maggie, are there any questions to start us off?
Yes, we have a question here from Helena. She says she added a clipboard to the wrong client. How can she correct that?
Okay, that's easy to do. You just go to your wrong client, get that clipboard back up on the left side. And what I would do, since it's attached to a different chart, what I would do is copy and paste the rubrics that you have in that clipboard to a new clipboard that you'll open, and then save that new clipboard to your correct chart. Does that make sense? Or do you want me to try to walk through some of those steps with you, step by step? I
think probably Lucy, if you could walk through it.
Yeah. Let me go ahead and, wow, I didn't know I had all that turned on. I'm going to reset my view here. I want the remedies alphabetically, but I do not want the authors. No authors. That was too much. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and open up, I'm going to get a clipboard going. We'll just throw some things on it, okay? And I'm going to save it to, let's say that I accidentally choose this chart. Let's go ahead and open this. Okay, and I'm going to save it here in this chart, just as if I thought this was the correct chart. And then I realized, oh, wait a minute, I did not want to put that clipboard in this chart. Here's what I would do. I would, it's already saved, so keep this wrong chart open. If you close this wrong chart, because the clipboard is saved to it, it will disappear with the closing of the chart. What you want to do is open a new clipboard by clicking on this clipboard manager icon. And you open up the clipboard that you want to go in a different chart. I'm going to click in here and I'm going to hit Command A to select my rubrics. If you're on Windows, you hit Control A, Command or Control C. I'm copying the rubrics. Now I'm going to come down to my new clipboard and I'm going to click into the blank space there and go Command or Control V to paste. So I've pasted those very same rubrics into a new clipboard. And now you can go ahead and you can close, actually you can come here and you can open the chart that you want it to go in. Let's say that you want it to go into this chart, open, okay. And as you can see, because I'm on this chart now, the clipboards that were attached to the previous chart are no longer showing because this active chart didn't have those clipboards. So now we're looking at the clipboards from this chart, and let's call it the correct chart. And I've got this clipboard here and I'm going to hit save. And I want that clipboard to go here, save. And so now you can see that it's in the correct chart. It's right here under the correct date, which is today and the time. I'm going to just, I went backwards one session line and now I'm going back to the new session line so that you can see that that clipboard is there. I hope I made that clear.
Yeah, thanks, Lucy.
Okay, good. Any other questions?
Not at the moment.
Okay, well, you guys be thinking of your questions. I actually have one of those tiny little, like 5-sentence cases that I brought, and I figured I would read this and we could, put a clipboard together, examine remedies, etc. And maybe that will help trigger some questions. So here's the case. And again, it's a tiny little case. You might actually guess the remedy just by hearing me read this. An 18-month-old boy is brought in by his mother in considerable distress. He screams through the interview. His mother doesn't dare put him down, as this makes him cry even harder. The only thing that quiets him is to be bounced vigorously on his mother's lap. On examination, his temperature is 100.5 Fahrenheit. Both tympanic membranes are red. So that's it. That's all we have. And I was just going to show you how I would go about putting this case into SHS and looking at remedies. So, excuse me one second. I've been struggling a little bit with a cough. I'm really hoping it will not come haunt me. I've got water. I've got a lozenge if I need it, if I get desperate. Okay, I'm going to close this patient management information, and I'm going to go look for my first rubric up in global search. I'm going to go look at shrieking and screaming. And I'm going to put in both those terms because I think I've mentioned this in a couple of other trainings, that it's good to put a couple of synonyms in, and you separate them by the /. That / is one of the proximity terms in global search, and it means or. So the program is going to look at scream or shout or shriek. That's another one. And so I want the program to look at all those terms. If you're not remembering the /, you can come over here to the add proximity icon, and you can click on or here. So you've got all the proximity choices over here under this icon. All right, let's activate this search. I'm going to, you can come over here and hit the magnifying glass, or you can hit return or enter on your keyboard. All right, and you know, here is our result. And I just want to kind of scroll, you know, and you want to find the ones that fit the most. And you want to find a substantial rubric. I mean, there are many rubrics with 1, 2, 3, you know, a handful of remedies. But I like to start out with a little bit more of a meatier rubric so that I have more choices in my clipboard. So we have here, we have this one, mine, shrieking, screaming, shouting. I'm going to go ahead and take that. You know, you can always take rubrics to the clipboard, and then later, you know, you take more than you might use, and then later you can go through them and sort them and maybe delete some even. But I'm just taking ones that catch my eye. Ah, look at this. We've got the shrieking, the screaming, the shouting, and children. I want to take that one because this is a child. Ah, and here's one that's during fever. Shrieking, screaming, shouting in children during fever. I want that to go to the clipboard. So I'll look at the clipboard later. First, I'm going to find all my rubrics. There's one during sleep, urination, on waking. Something to do with convulsions. And you can go on down the list. I think I've got it pretty well covered. Let me see. You know, you can make some assumptions. For instance, you can maybe assume that the child is in pain. You don't know for sure because he hasn't been able to tell us that. But you could maybe take one related to pain as well. Let's see if we can find one. So here's one. Shrieking, screaming, shouting during pain. And it's ear pain, so it has nothing to do with the abdomen or the back. I'll go ahead and take that one as well. Again, I'll assess these later. Okay, so I think I pretty well have that symptom covered. But I also want to cover the symptom of the holding, the fact that his mother is holding him in motion is helping. So I'm going to X out of this search, and I'm just going to put the word holding, ameliorates, AMEL. Okay. And of course, we come into the mind chapter first, and there it is right there. I want to take that rubric to the clipboard. And maybe the emotion ameliorates, the fact that he's bounced. Motion, really helps a lot. Take that one. The anxiety, again, we don't know if there's that's an assumption. The kid hasn't told us he's anxious, so I might want to just take this general one, that motion is ameliorating, that shrieking. Yeah, take that one. Okay, and so, I also might want to come down to ears. Ears seem to be the problem. I just want to see if there's maybe a rubric here. Ears, motion ameliorates. Yeah, we can take that. We don't know for a fact that it's the ears. Again, this is where you have to kind of judge. Maybe it's the fact that he's, in a doctor's office and there is anxiety. It's just hard to know. But I'm going to assume, because he has the fever and the red eardrums, that, that maybe it's his ears. I'll go ahead and take that. We'll think about it later. And we might also want to go down to the generalities chapter and see about motion there. Okay, here we go. Just take this one. That's a rather large rubric, but I'll go ahead and take that one as well. Continued motions ameliorate. Let's see if we can find, like, bouncing seems a bit, not as gentle as just a gentle motion. Bouncing is not a gentle motion. Continued, we'll take that. I just want to see what else we have here. Slow, gentle. See, I don't think that would apply to the bouncing. Violent, perhaps. Okay, we'll look at it after we get all the rubrics in that we want. All right, so we also want to cover the ear symptom of redness. So just to show you that you can find rubrics in the repertory as well, you can come up here to repertory module. I could find that up here in global search, but I'll show you this way as well, because I would like everybody to get comfortable navigating their repertories and using global search. So we'll come up here. Now I'm in repertory module, and I'm going to ears, and I'm going to type on my keyboard, not in any of the type to search windows, but on my keyboard, RED, redness. And it was not just a generalized redness, it was the eardrum. And in homeopathic language, that's the tympanum, TY, and there it is. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in. And redness indicates inflammation. So I'm actually going to come back to ears using the breadcrumb string. I'm just going to get out of redness and click on ears up here. You can also use the left directional arrow, but I'll do it this way this time. Go back to the main ears, and I'm going to type IN. Look, here we have tympanum as well, in middle ear. You could take that. Okay, so inflammation isn't there, but I'm going to go to pain, PA, and I'm I'm going to go into pain by hitting the right directional arrow. Okay. And I want to go to let's see. I know I found it before. Let me go back to ears for just a moment. There it is. So I must have hit the wrong letters on my keyboard. Ears, inflammation. You can take that big general rubric, or you can also go further in and look for tympanum. Also, the tympanum is the most exterior part of the, the middle ear. So you can also look for, let's see here. Middle ear. So here I found inflammation of the middle ear, and I'm going to take that. And here's acute tympanum. I'm going to take that. Does anybody have any other suggestions for a rubric?
Lisa is saying, what would happen if you put carried better for being in the global search box?
That's a good suggestion. Now he's not being carried, but he's being bounced on his mother's lap because she's in this doctor's office. But let's go ahead and find carried, that rubric. Desires to be carried. That isn't quite it. I mean, might be. Here's weeping, tearful mood in children, ameliorated when carried and held. I think that definitely fits the case. This bigger one up here, we could put it in, certainly. He seems to be wanting to be, held versus carried, but again, we're taking a lot to the clipboard. Anything else, Maggie?
Not at the moment.
Okay. All right. I think we've got a pretty good clipboard put together. Let's go look at it. So I'm going to open this up.
Oh, rocking ameliorate, sorry.
What?
Rocking ameliorate?
Rocking. Okay. Let's go look for that. Let's see if it's, let's see if that word rocking is in anywhere in our repertories. Anxiety, let's see. Now this would indicate to me, this one, that the child himself is rocking. Rocking, like the rocking back and forth. Rocking ameliorates. Here you go. Let's put that in. All right. I like it. All right. So I'm going to open up the clipboard. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to close off the graph for a minute so that we can, I did that by toggling these arrows up here. You can toggle away from either the graph or the clipboard by using these arrows here at the top between the two. All right, let me move this up and make sure, okay, we can see all our rubrics. Now, what I would do next is I would, assess and maybe eliminate and combine, because if you have, I want each idea to be represented with an equal weight. And so if we have a lot of rubrics for one thing, that's going to kind of make it a heavier weight. So I do like to combine the same kind of ideas. So I'm looking at our rubrics here, and in my judgment, I kind of want to stick to the shouting, screaming in children, even the one with fever, pain, keep that. But I think I'm going to take out, personally speaking, this is my personal decision, I'm going to take out that bigger rubric. You could keep it if you wanted to, but I'm going to take it out because we're dealing with the children, and there are some good rubrics for children screaming. And I kind of like to hone in as much as I can. And so what I want to do is combine, and you select multiple rubrics by holding down the command or the control key. I'm going to combine the shouting rubrics. I've selected them, and I'm going to come up here to the make group icon, and I'm going to do screaming. You can name it whatever you wish, but I'm going to go ahead and name it that simple word. Okay, so now that's a combined rubric with these three under it. Let's go ahead, and the holding ameliorates, the motion ameliorates, the motion ameliorates. And again, I think I'll take out this bigger one just because I feel like sometimes big rubrics just muddy the waters. And I use them if I can't find anything else, but we did find some other good motion ameliorates that maybe is a little bit more pertinent. And maybe I'll take out the violent. I don't know. What does everyone think? I could keep it in too, so we'll keep that in. We'll just keep it in. So we've got the rocking, we've got this one, and I'm going to go ahead and put that one in, and that one in, and this one in. So that's, that was quite a few, and so the weight of that symptom was going to be, overweighing the case too much. So I think I got all those. Oh, desires to be carried is another one. So I'm going to hold down the command key again and add that. Okay. Say motion holding ameliorates. Okay, we've got all those together. And then the inflammation. Oh, we forgot this one. So if you have forgotten to put a rubric in a group, you can just select the group and select the new one. Come up here. And I'm just going to go ahead and rename it the same thing. You can rename it something different or the same. Motion holding ameliorates. Okay, so now all those are together.
Actually, Lucy, another way to do that is you can just take any rubric there on your clipboard and drag and drop it.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, that's true. That was an improvement, I think, in one of the most recent update, right, Maggie?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's true too. If you wanted to take one out, let's say we wanted to take this out, you could just click, hold, and drag it up. And now it's out. And we'll go ahead and just delete that. To delete a rubric, you highlight it and you hit delete. And the same thing holds true if you want to add a rubric to a combined rubric, is you can click it, highlight it, and drag it into the combined rubric. Thank you, Maggie. Okay, and so then these others, we'll put those together. And you can, again, name it whatever you want. All right, there. I'm happy with my clipboard. Do you have any suggestions for anything else?
No, that's good.
All right, let's take a look at the graph. I'm going to get the graph back in by toggling left.
Lucy, when you go to the graph, Karen has a question where she says that my clipboard screen goes down below the edge of the program, and I don't know how to minimize the lower part of the screen so I can see the miles and indication on the remedy I am looking at.
Ask Karen, I need to ask you, which version of SHS are you on? Are you on 131? Because there were a lot of window issues with 125, the last version before 131. And so I would just ask you to check that.
All right, which one are you on? Sorry, Karen. If you go to help about, you'll see the number.
Yes, come here to help about, and it will tell you what version you're on.
But Lucy, you might just show if your clipboard is slightly off the screen, how you can zoom in and out to maybe get
Yes,
more
you
management
can.
of the
If you have gotten your view so that it's very zoomed in, for instance, if you've hit zoom in a few times, you can zoom in, zoom in, zoom in. And with on 131, it's not too bad a problem, but maybe you want to zoom back out so that you can see more. You can reload or you can hit zoom out and just reset. You can reset zoom also. So now I'm back to where I started. And you can also grab the clipboard by, you see this blue strip at the top of the clipboard, you hover your mouse there, you click, hold, and you can drag that clipboard around. Now mine's pretty big, so it's not going to go too far anywhere. But I can toggle left to get rid of the clipboard part, and then I can actually position my mouse at the bottom right corner, and bring it up, make it smaller, So that's how you resize windows. Is you can also see how my mouse changes to that symbol where the arrows are going in both directions, and so you can utilize that as well to change your window size. But any of the corners, again, you get a little down arrow, and you can move it around that way. Again, you move the whole thing by just clicking up here on the blue strip and moving it around. Karen, did you get it straightened out? Which version were you on?
She's on 1.3.1.
Oh, you are. Okay.
And she has no bottom right-hand corner. So I assume she should zoom out then.
Yes. So go ahead to the view and reset your zoom. The view, reset zoom, and then you should be able to then find the bottom right corners.
She's gone off to do that.
Okay. All right. Right. So no surprise, Chamomilla came up first, but there's some other ones. When I read that little paragraph, I was like, oh, it's a Chamomilla case. And you could start there. But, if you're not sure, if you're a new homeopath, you can certainly go research. Let's go look at Chamomilla versus Pulsatilla. I mean, maybe Pulsatilla could help as well. They're very clingy. They like to be held when they're not feeling well. And so you can go and look at these in the reference library if you aren't certain. Maybe I shouldn't be so certain. So I'm going to hover my mouse on Chamomilla, hit Control, click, because I'm on a Mac. On a Windows computer, you just right click. On a Mac computer, it's Control click to get this menu option. View remedy and reference library. I'm going to select that. And here I am now. You can see over here on the icon palette, the open book icon is highlighted. That means I'm in the reference library. Chamomilla Allen's. Allen's came up because Allen's is the first book in my list of Materia Medica that has information about chamomilla. But if I wanted to go to any other book, I can. You don't type a search for it because you're in remedies. You simply have to type on your keyboard. Let's go to Herrings. And hold on one second. Oh, because I'm in remedy. And I did exactly what I told you all not to do. I'm sorry. Oh, golly, that was funny. That's what happens if you are in remedies and you use the type to search window. So let me get back to Chamomilla here. Here we are. I'm going to open it. I'm going to open the remedy. This is where we were. Okay. And so now I'm going to type on my keyboard, not in the type to search window, HER. To pop myself down to Herrings, I'm going to go to the guiding symptoms. You can go to any book that you like, but I'm just going to go to Herrings guiding symptoms with Chamomilla. Okay. And I'm now going to go to Pulsatilla in this same book. How do I do that? I'm in remedies. I do type to search for pulsatilla. I open pulsatilla. I get down into the books by hitting the down arrow. And now I can find that Herring's book here in pulsatilla. Guiding symptoms. I'm actually going to hover my mouse on the guiding symptoms. I'm going to hit control click because if I just clicked it, it would replace my chamomilla tab, and I don't want that. I want to put pulsatilla right next to chamomilla. So that's why I right click to get it to open in a new window. All right, and so now that's going to come up, and I'm going to put these side by side. I'm going to come over here, and pulsatilla is up. So I'm going to click chamomilla to bring it to also to the forefront. All right, and so now I'm looking at both the remedies side by side. You know, and you can, these are both the mind chapters, and then you just can scroll down. If you forget which remedy you're on because the name of the remedy has scrolled up, just hover your mouse on the tab and it will tell you at the bottom on the status bar where you are. So chamomilla was on the right, and you know, you do have cries quiet only when carried under chamomilla. We knew that about the remedy. Let's go look at pulsatilla. Patient seeks consolation, extremely affectionate. Is anyone seeing under the pulsatilla tab the idea of being carried or held?
If you put carried in the type to search the window there at the top.
Now, if I'm looking at both, I'm not, does that work when you have two up, Maggie? I think you have
I'm
to
not
have
sure.
this side by side. Let me try it. Okay. But hey, I love that. And so here you see it on the chamomilla side. Here you see it on the, okay, but this does not apply, carried forth child with difficulty. That has nothing to do with what we're looking for. And I'm not even sure where we are actually now in pulsatilla. It looks like we're we're way further down. We could also use the word held. Held, holding, 0. Okay, let's do hold. Okay. The other thing would be motion. Maybe look for that. Better by motion under pulsatilla. So you can use this certainly and look for those keywords. You can certainly do that. But you know, you can also just scroll. And if you take them, if it gets confusing with both, you can undo this simply by unticking. And then you can just look at them one at a time and look at them. So here we are in chamomilla, and you know, I'm going to look for what was that, carried? Let's look for carried here. Okay, so there's that.
Lucy, can you just explain what your numbers are there beside carried?
Of course. So when you've used this type to search window, which what it does is look for that word that you've typed in there, and it finds you every instance of that word. It tells you how many instances are here. So right here is first of 10, and you can click on the arrow here to go to the next one, and the next one must be carried, wants to be carried, wants to be carried, lots of that in Chamomilla. And so you see every instance of it. And it appears to be in almost every chapter when the child is having pain. That's a huge keynote of Chamomilla. If a child is like teething, has ear pain, or any issue like that, the child gets relief from being carried. Now let's pop over to pulsatilla. And you can see that that word only comes up in this one instance that we had found when they were side by side. You can see one of one up here. But consolation, let's put that word in because I want to see how that manifests. I know that that's the big keynote in pulsatilla. And patient seeks consolation. Okay, it's only there one time. Anyone have any ideas? So here I am in pulsatilla. I can also go down to the hearing and ears portion, and you can specifically look at ears for each chapter. Maybe you can put redness in up here. Redness. Okay, redness and swelling of, okay, there's 11, but it looks like there's only one instance of redness under the ears, kind of, which is where I was honing in, but there are more further down, and it's different chapters, which you could get to if you wanted to. That's in the throat, 2 instances in the throat. And so that's kind of how you research remedies.
Lisa's just asking, could you go to the reverse repertory to see which remedies carry the symptom of being carried wants to be?
Oh, sure.
And somebody else is asking also how to get to the reverse repertory.
Absolutely. So let's go back up here. You don't have to close any windows, by the way. You can just always hop around your program. I'm going to go ahead and activate that search again. It's going to take me straight to that. Now, I'm going to go into my reference library tab. We haven't even touched on the reference library tab. We were just looking for rubrics. And so now I'm going to pop over to the reference library tab, and I'm going to, you see where it says books here? I'm going to see this little arrow here. This is one way. This is one way to look at reversed materials. I'm going to go to books, and I'm going to, now that the books has the arrow under it, I am going to go to that reversed. Let me just see. Of course, you know how you have to, here it is, VZC. VZCR. Okay, let me just put that in. And so now you have all the reversed, repertories in that are always found in reference library, and you can certainly look at those. Maybe and then now that you've got that up, you could go down to the Chamomilla and see what's there. The other way to look at reversed is to just go into your Materia Medica, your reference library, and go to books, and I'm going to put complete in, and here, now I don't have the complete yet in the 2023, that's coming soon. So I'll go to the most recent one, which is here, the 21, and I'm going to go down to Chamomilla, and I'm going to click on that. And so this certainly is another way you can research the remedies. So now I'm looking at all the rubrics under Chamomilla in the Complete Repertory 2021. And you can go down to the ear chapter, the mind chapter, and just start exploring rubrics. So we're in ears. And that's how you do that. That's how you go research a remedy in a reversed repertory. So you can come at things several ways in this program. Any other questions?
Yes, could you go back to global search and go through the proximity settings, the options?
Oh, sure. All right, so up here in the window, and again, this right here is the icon that gives you the proximity terms. Or is if you have synonyms, carried versus holding. You know, you can look for multiple words and you separate them with that / on your keyboard. That's the keyboard shortcut, is the /. Now, there's a lot more you can do with the proximity language. One space, if you've just put one, let's say that you've got carried / holding, and you put one space, you hit the space bar once, and then you put ameliorates. So the program is going to look for, and this has to do with your materia medica, by the way. All that proximity language relates to materia medica. You really don't want to use proximity language when you're looking for rubrics because it limits. The more proximity language you have, the fewer rubrics you're going to find, or you might even not find any at all. So we're talking about looking through the materia medica, and I've put one space, ameliorates. And so what the program is going to do is find carried and holding next to ameliorates. That's what the next to is, the one space. If you were to hit the space bar twice, then you would have the in the same sentence. So then I'd be looking for carried or holding in the same sentence as ameliorates. I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to erase that word ameliorates, and I'm going to come over here and I'm going to say in the same sentence, which you can also get to with 2 hits on your space bar. And I'm going to say ameliorates. And now what the program's going to do is it's not only going to look for those 2 words next to ameliorate, it's going to look for those 2 words in the same sentence as ameliorate. And you can understand it's going to expand your search. It's going to give you more result because it's allowing the program to look in a broader sense. And then if you want to put paragraph there instead of sentence, it's going to expand and broaden your search even more because you're allowing the program to look in the same paragraph for those carried and holding in the same paragraph as ameliorate. Now, at some point, it's too broad a search and it's not going to be pertinent anymore. So that you have to keep that in mind too. Also the same section. And now in the same remedy is a little bit different. I'm going to show you that. I'm just going to put one space there. And I'm going to hit, okay, let me come over here and use the proximity language of in the same remedy. I'm going to select that. You can also get that to that proximity term by hitting your spacebar 5 times. So carried or holding ameliorates in the same remedy as, and I'm going to say tympanum, pain, let's say, or red. Okay, so this, and that word tympanum, did I misspell it? Thank you. Okay, I got it right that time. Red. Okay, so you have to make sure it's spelled correctly. The program will let you know if it's not. You can ignore that drop-down menu for the moment. So what this will do is the program will look in your materia medica for the symptom of carried or holding ameliorates in the same remedy as a red tympanum. And when you activate that search, you're going to get all the remedies in your materia medica. You can see that the repertory tab was bypassed because the more proximity language you have, you're not going to find rubrics because it's too complex for rubric language. And so Interesting. 3 remedies and chamomile is not one of them. Let me just try something here. This is where it's okay. This is where now I'm going to explain the numbers. So that you only had 3 remedies come up. If you were to expand this search even more by putting numbers between the words, let's say we want to look for carried, holding, ameliorates, no, yeah, in the same remedy as tympanum within 5 words of red. Okay, we're going to get more than those 3 remedies. I'm going to activate this search. And there it is. So you see chamomilla is there. The 5 remedies have come up. And the problem with the other search was that tympanum and red were not next to each other in any of the materia medica on chamomilla. When we expanded the search and put tympanum within 5 words of red, that's when we got the bigger result that did contain chamomilla. Does that make sense to everybody? When you're looking through your materia medica, it is good to keep things somewhat broad because it's not in rubric language. And there are sentences, and sentences don't always have the 2 keywords next to each other. So it's good to let the program search where the 2 keywords are separated maybe by 2, like 3, 4, 5 words. When you get beyond, I mean, you can go up to as many words, but you can make this number higher than 5. But again, at some point, it might not be as relevant. I hope that makes sense. Any other questions, Maggie? Oh, I can't hear you, Maggie.
No, I'm just thinking. Lisa is asking, how do we use the reference library search? But I think you've talked through that.
Yeah, Lisa, let us know if you have any other questions.
If you have any more questions, yeah, Lisa, come back to me.
And you can actually take a reference library search to a clipboard. And you see, you've got this. I could take that to our clipboard by clicking over here, the little plus. And it shows up on the clipboard like so. Let me show you. It shows up like this. It always shows up RL-S, reference library search, and this is it. And of course, that just strengthened our chamomilla argument. Interestingly enough, pulsatilla has moved down the list. And sulfur is in 2nd place after adding that. Any other questions about anything? It doesn't have to be about this case.
I think Helena still has questions about saving a consultation, going back, opening up a patient management and looking at a previous consultation and wanting to change the date of that consultation.
Okay. All right, let's go into patient management, view patients. I'll go here, open this. All right, and so you've got multiple lines. It always gives you this view first. And because many charts do have multiple lines due to follow-ups and things like that, the program doesn't open any particular consultation. You choose it. So let's choose the last one.
Sorry, Lucy, before you do that, sorry, could you go back?
Sure.
A second. Yeah, just X out of that. I'm actually reading it again. She's asking about deleting a consultation. So can you just draw attention to the little bin there?
Yeah, there's a trash can on the side. So you can throw away any session that you just don't want by clicking on this trash can here. Is it helpful for me to show the other part that I was going to show?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Okay. All right. And so I'll go ahead and open up one of the consultations just by clicking on it. Click on the date that you want. Now, this one is showing a consultation date of today. Let's say that, oh, I don't want it today because I saw that person yesterday. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to change this to the 13th. And then all I have to do is update. And I'm going to keep actually, if you remember, now this is what you have to be careful. You always get this clipboard window because, we were working on that other case that has nothing to do with this chart. And so this window is your way to verify, okay, which clipboard is going into which chart. I don't want this clipboard number 1 to go in because that has nothing to do with this chart. So I'm not going to tick clipboard 1. I'm going to just keep it at clipboard 2. The clipboard that's already in the chart is going to be pre-ticked for you. So I'm going to hit save, not choosing clipboard number 1. And now you can see that the date changed. You see how now it's April 13th.
Thanks, Lucy. Can you show if you've done a global search and you're in the global search window and you want then to go to the reference library, how do you actually do that?
You mean from one of the references that you're looking at?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say we're here and we want to go down, we want to go to Borges, at this first reference under Chamomilla. You can see here, Chamomilla starts here. It's in the ear chapter of Borges. Borges reversed maybe. And so I'm just going to hover my mouse on the line in the right pane. If you click once, you just get a little blurb. You have to double click and then you're taken to the reference library for that particular reference that you want to go to. And here it is. See, I'm in Borges, the reference that was right next to that. And it took me right here and it highlights those search terms. So it's a double click, just to reiterate.
And obviously the second icon on your left panel that is highlighted also brings you into the general reference library.
Yes, going from global search, doing that double click has taken me into the reference library. Is that what you mean, Maggie?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, you can see I'm in the reference library here. It's very good to start getting comfortable with just clicking around in your program. I see a lot of people when I do trainings feel like they have to close windows all the time before they do anything else in the program. You can if you want to. You can also minimize a window by clicking on the minus sign. But honestly, you can just be on the left side here and put yourself anywhere in the program. And of course, anywhere you are in the program, you can use this global search window. You don't have to be in global search. You can be in patient management and come up here and use the global search window. And then when you activate it, it takes you straight to global search. It's not like you have to be in global search to activate a search. You can activate this window from anywhere in your program. Well, we have a couple more minutes if there are any lingering last questions.
Sorry, Lucy, just one last question. Could you show where the help PDF is, and could you also show the shortcuts?
Oh yeah, sure. Help up here. The manual is right here, instruction manual. So if you wanted to download that, you can, if you download the PDF, you can search within the instruction manual. But every single module actually has like if you come into repertory module, for instance, anytime you see a question mark in the program, you can go to the manual about that particular section. Then the keyboard shortcuts are under help as well. And it's good to have these. I would try to get to know these. It makes your experience of SHS, that much more streamlined if you get to know your keyboard shortcuts.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, one that I just love is the Command U to turn on your cross references. And so normally I don't keep my cross references turned on. As you can see, you can turn them on for all chapters, all repertories right here if you want to. But if you don't want to, because they take up a lot of room, you can just come in here and then hit Command U. Let's see if this has, and there you see in this chapter, you're now looking at your cross references that you can go to that they recommend. So the keyboard shortcuts are nice.
Mhm.
And again, you find them under help, keyboard shortcuts.
Helena is asking, in terms of the tutorials, on our YouTube channel, is it possible to search for keywords, like if she wanted to find a tutorial on cross references, for example? I don't think that's possible, Lucy, is it?
I don't think so. What I have tried to do is mention a few things that are talked about in the trainings. So if you read the description of the training, you'll see a sort of a review of what was done. So sometimes you can do that. You can also write to us if you're having a question about anything. Please write to us. Let me put this screen up again. Lucy at synergyhomeopathic.com or Rupali at synergyhomeopathic.com. If you're frustrated by something and just aren't sure about something, please write to us. Don't feel like you have to wait for the training or that you have to go search the videos. We're happy to answer questions, but you have to write to us. Any other questions?
No, that's it.
Okay. Well, thank you all very much for joining us today. And I hope you can join Rupali in 2 weeks for the intermediate advanced course. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Happy weekend.